Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, moms and dads, fathers and sons, it is time once again for the Hops and Bops podcast. I am producer Tom.
I'm Joe. I'm stunned by that. I did not see that coming.
And I'm Mike.
That's
all I got.
I am the carnival barker of today's episode.
Which fits in great with our album.
That's
That
right.
is true.
Wow.
Today's album is Hunter Gatherer by Avatar. Yes. And the beer of choice today is New England Brewing Company's 𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙩.
𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙃.
Yes.
Yes. Double IPA.
What do you say? Do we
crack open the 𝙃𝙪𝙣s?
Crack them open, see what's up, see what's inside.
I went fancy on this one. I knew we had a nice double IPA coming in. I got the snifter glass from Ommegang Brewing Company in Cooperstown.
Yep.
Just look at that. I feel like I'm really fancy
You're
at
just
a party.
a classy broad right now.
I do feel like a classy broad.
You gotta hold your pinky out while you drink that.
That's good.
Well, do you see my pinky? I mean, I know you guys at home can't, but
It's out.
it is erect.
That is a 90-degree angle right there.
Ew. Don't ever say that again.
It's got a good smell.
I have...
My pinky.
Oh,
Oof. I just chose a Pacifico glass. It was kind of like frosty. Looked kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. I have the Bud Light Connecticut glass. I don't know where you got this one, but it's kind of cool.
I think you won
Purchase legally.
Yeah. Didn't you win that at one of your raffles?
Sure.
The bar raffle.
Yep. Always.
So yeah, 𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙯 from NEBCO, New England Brewing Company.
Nice amber color.
I was just going to say, nice amber color, although I probably shouldn't have chosen this glass.
It's hard to see the color.
You got like the frosted glass.
It's a frosted amber color.
No, Joe. No, it's not frosty. Your glass is frosty. No, it's nice amber color. As I look at my friend's glasses here. We are drinking out of, these were 12-ounce cans. They sell them in, I think, 4 packs, but 12 ounce, because they're coming in at 8.5%, higher percentage, so just 4 packs. Double IPA, as mentioned earlier. So for those that don't know, that don't know what a double IPA is, I did some basic research. We're not beer experts by any means, but double IPA means more hops and malts.
We're not supposed to tell people that.
I guess we're not faking till we make it. We didn't carry that theme over from the band. More hops, more malts. That's what makes it the double IPA. Hops in this are Citra, Simcoe, Mosaic, and Columbus. A lot of the same hops that we've had in our other beers. Came out in 2011. This is actually the first double IPA canned in Connecticut.
Ooh.
Which is pretty cool.
Fancy.
Yeah, so I thought that was a nice little fact.
Little trivia.
Little factoid. Drinks really well.
Yeah. So the on their website, it actually says that it has a very bombastic citrus taste. I feel like we should have
bombastic.
We should have paired this with Shaggy.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Bombastic.
So fantastic.
I also just want to throw out there that this is not the first time. Goose Island makes a beer that's actually called the Dank Destroyer.
Yes.
DANK.
Dank.
And I keep seeing this word dank.
Yes.
So I did a little research because I'm like, what a word.
Yes.
I love the word dank.
Dank.
That's some dank kush.
So it says it's when an IPA is very hoppy, very cloudy. They're considered dank. Higher in alcohol content. Use the word funky. And as well as it is supposed to be funky and odoriferous.
Odoriferous?
Yeah.
Is that
It has a good odor.
is that like a Marvel villain?
Yeah. But I do
Odoriferous.
I do like the fact that they say to both like good weed or very hoppy.
Yeah, right.
So that should clear that up. But I had to look it up because I'm just.
I know, I love that word dank.
Yeah.
Dank IPAs.
It's a dank ass beer.
Yeah, dank, that's it. It's a dank ass beer. Yeah, so there's actually a cool backstory about this beer. It was originally called 𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙯 when it first came out in 2011. But it just...
Ruffled some feathers?
Yeah, ruffled feathers, absolutely. Some people were upset about the depiction of Gandhi as a robot on the can, the original label. They took offense to that. So NEBCO kind of came under fire a little bit, but they renamed the beer 𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙯, G-bot. And actually, if you
PR move right there.
Yeah.
Good save.
Yep. And actually, if you look at the label now, the robot is in pieces. It's like broken and on the ground and everything, so it shows the robot like broken, except for his arm, which is holding up a peace sign. But if you look at it, I thought about this. If you look at it, who gives a peace sign with the back of their hand facing out? It looks like his hand has the back of his hand out.
The palm away.
The palm towards your face. So, to me, it looks like they're subtly giving the middle finger. If you look at his middle finger, you know, if you take the pointer away, it is the middle finger. But
very good.
Very good. It just subtly looks like they're trying to give a little
we changed the name there.
Yeah, you know,
Mother effers.
But again, I'm not putting words in NEBCO's mouth. This is just my interpretation. I don't know. But I also thought what was cool is on the side of the can, it has a line. It has a quote here. It says, "We can rebuild him. We have the technology," and that's clear reference to the original label and the original name. I thought that was kind of cool. That was a quote from an old TV show. I think like $1 Million Man or something. I don't know, some old show. But I thought that was cool.
I like how the plants are kind of rising from the ashes on that too.
So that reminds me of the episode of The Office where they're at the dump looking for the leads. And Michael Scott just turns around and goes, "Wouldn't this be a great picture with just a single rose growing?" So that reminded me when I just looked at it, because you've got like the robot falling apart and in the ground, and you just got these little plants kind of growing out of it. And
definitely. Nice. So 𝙃𝙪𝙣𝙩, good beer, tasting.
It's good.
Tasting good.
It's a little bit more boozy than I'd say the last IPA we did or double IPA we did in the previous session. That was more of like a New England IPA with a higher alcohol percentage.
Right,
pretty much.
This has that double IPA flavor. It's got a little bit more bite to it,
for sure.
A little bit more flavor with that kind of booze taste.
Definitely not a New England style, even though it's made by NEBCO.
It's still got that little citrus kick.
Yeah, a little bit citrus, but I'm not tasting it. It's definitely heavier for me and has that bite, the hoppy bite to it.
And it's pretty much the same percentage-wise as the last one we did too.
Yeah,
they're both in that mid to high 8 range. So
for sure.
You get that high alcohol content. You can definitely taste it.
A lot more hop flavor in this one.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure.
You get a bit more back end taste too. Yeah.
Well, a nice heavy beer for.
Nice heavy album.
Yeah.
Hunter Gatherer. What? We are just flowing right now.
Yeah, we are flowing.
Spitting.
Speaking of which, I got to go take a leak.
Oh God, you should have done that in between.
Yeah. No,
good flow.
Hunter Gatherer. So this is a band called Avatar.
Yes.
I found them through listening to Octane on Sirius Satellite Radio.
Okay.
And the first song I actually heard by them was called Hail the Apocalypse.
Yes.
Which is off of a 2015 album by the same name, Hail the Apocalypse, which is a great album. Okay. But I thought it would be really cool because they just put out, during quarantine, this, I don't know when this year it dropped, but it was earlier this year that this album came out. And...
August 7th.
Is it August?
Oh, my birthday.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Joe.
Happy
It already happened, but...
a way long time ago.
So yeah, towards the end of the summer, this album dropped, and I had heard a couple of singles off it. I heard Colossus, I heard A Secret Door, and they're both great songs. And then I listened to the album straight through, and I was just like, holy shit. Just such a kick in the ass kind of album. And there's really like no down. There's one song on the whole album which is a ballad, and we'll talk about that in a bit. Which I just, I think it was a major risk that for them I think worked. But anyway, otherwise this is literally just one banging metal song after another, and they give off like a circus vibe. They give off like a very showy vibe, showmanship. Yeah. And it's different because you don't see that with metal always, And his vocal range from being able to just scream and growl and almost have a Lamb of God sound. For those people who know metal and know Lamb of God, they've got a very unique type of vocals. They have kind of that, and then all of a sudden he comes in and he starts singing. I was like, it reminds me of like a Corey Taylor, who's just got this vocal range of like what the fuck to what the fuck, and you're just like, how do you do that all in one song
Right.
and sound good?
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not putting this guy on the pedestal of Corey Taylor, because Corey Taylor is one of, if not the best metal vocalist right now in rock and roll and period.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy really holds his own and just does such a great job.
Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, when bands record stuff, or anyone, an artist, if they're doing it on the recording, then that means they're going to be expected to do it live.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of bands, rock bands, metal bands, you know, they'll use overdubbings and pre-recordings and things like that, but it's kind of hard to reproduce vocals.
Oh, yeah.
So for someone like this, the lead singer of Avatar, to kind of go back and forth between the growling and the singing, that's going to be a tough task in concert, but it must mean he can do it. It's really cool.
Yeah, and it's even more impressive to kind of see the range that he does have. You know, I kind of grew in college. I kind of lived with a bunch of metal snobs where they kind of were very picky and choosy with what they chose to listen to. So I kind of understand how hard it is to get those kind of growls and screams out of someone. Yeah,
That's
it's,
talent.
It's incredibly, you know, from someone on the outside who's not super into metal or hasn't had that kind of experience. They might not see it as that impressive or that difficult to do. But if you try to recreate that sound, it's very, very hard to do.
Yeah.
Right.
And on top of that, having such a crazy vocal range that even I can't hit,
Yeah.
it's insane.
Yeah.
And, you know, I personally am not crazy about this album like some of you are.
Yeah.
But that talent that he does have in the vocal ranges, it definitely shows on this album. That's one of like the biggest shining moments on this.
Yeah, for sure. So like someone who has never heard of them, I never heard of them, never listened to them until Mike brought it up.
Yeah, me either.
The first two acts that I'm reminded of are Ozzy Osbourne and Avenged Sevenfold.
I
could see
yes.
that.
I'm
see
hearing
Avenged, yeah.
Even a lot more on A7X. I hear them on a lot of songs because A7X does a lot of like theatrical vocal styles and song styles, and I think there's a lot of theatrical moments throughout this whole album. Especially, I don't want to jump ahead here, but like the song "Child," I think it's obvious. You know, has a theatrical feel. It refers to a circus.
Yeah,
but,
yeah, I had that written down.
But I do hear those elements throughout the album too, and I am hearing a lot of Slipknot as well. But Ozzy and
It was cool with that
Avenged
song
Sevenfold.
"Child." Just going back to it, you have that kind of and hi-hat
Yes.
accent that you
Yes.
doom,
Right. You feel like
it was
you're at that, you know,
that
carnival,
bouncy
like,
carnival.
yeah.
Yeah. It was cool how,
And then it just
how they
goes
do that
metal.
with the
Okay.
percussion.
Yeah.
You know, they
I-
make you feel that. Yeah.
I wrote down for that track, it kind of sounded like a pirate dirge to me. That was
And
very,
that's,
Yeah, right,
Well,
yeah.
Hail the Apocalypse, they're on like a pirate ship
Oh, okay.
on the front album. So you get that too, that kind of piratey feel.
yeah.
Their last album was called Avatar Country, which was a little bit different. And it's not a country album, but it's got kind of a little more of that vibe to some of the songs. They really have just range in a lot of things
Yeah.
they do.
Where are they from? Sweden?
So they record, so they're from the studio they recorded in Sweden, so I'm assuming they're Swedish.
Yeah.
Swedish death metal, though, is like a really big thing.
Yeah, it
Oh,
is.
yeah.
Like,
It
that's
is.
like kind of the birth of it, like where it,
Yeah.
So, and you know, these guys are considered melodic death metal or alternative metal. So
Yeah.
they've got that from Sweden. I mean, their guitar solos, when they throw them in there,
Yeah.
are just really, really talented and good. And as it says, melodic. You know, they're not like,
Yeah.
you know, they're just, a lot of harmonizing and thrown in there. I mean, they open with Silence of the Age of Apes, which was technically their first single.
Yeah, I was going to ask for a single rundown.
Yeah, so they got Silence of the Age of Apes, God of Sick Dreams, and Colossus.
Really?
Yeah. So now, A Secret Door, though, was the first song off this album I heard on Sirius.
Okay.
But Sirius doesn't necessarily have to play singles, I
Right.
think. They
They
can
play
play
whatever.
whatever the hell
Yeah.
they want. Colossus, I also heard very early.
Yeah.
The other ones I didn't hear until I actually listened to the album,
Yeah.
surprisingly, when it comes to their list of singles. But I thought it was a great heavy intro. Like right off the bat, you know what this album's going to be like.
Yeah.
They didn't waste any time. It was just like, oh, hey, by the way, this is what we've got for
Yeah.
you.
I agree with that, but in a way I also disagree because
Okay.
there was no singing in that song. And
True.
and that's kind of why I was a little put off by that song. I'm not a huge fan of the song. He has a great singing voice which
Yeah.
he showcases all throughout the album. and there isn't that.
No,
you
he
know?
growls that whole song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they're looking for that, punch in the
Yep.
face opening track. But, we always talk about how the first track almost all the time is a good representation of the album.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel that here. I almost felt they should have began with maybe a Colossus or what was the
Yeah.
other one you were talking about?
God of Sick Dreams.
Yeah.
God of Sick Dream's a
Yeah.
great song.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And maybe save Silence in the Age of Apes for like the closer or
Kind
something.
of
I don't
build
know.
into it a little bit.
Yeah,
No, I can see
I
that.
yeah,
I can see what
that
you're
as well.
saying.
Yeah.
I agree with you actually.
Yeah.
I think for what it's trying to do to kind of set the tone of the album, it's okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
in terms of like an actual single or like the song by itself, it's not necessarily the most standout on the album.
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
I can
But
agree.
it gets the job done for me.
Yeah, I think with that, I think the only thing with a song like Colossus or even God of Sick Dreams, more so Colossus, it's a little bit of a slower song. It's still heavy, but it's a little slower in
Yeah.
tempo.
Yeah.
And I think to open an album with that would have been a little bit like
That's true.
too. Whereas that's Science of the Age of Apes just came in like,
Yeah.
hey, by the way, boom, and you're
It
there.
definitely did.
But I
Yeah,
do agree. There's so many songs where he growls and he sings and he screams and he does all that vocal range that he could have been like. Because I mean, it had the heavy drum, heavy intro with the drums and the guitar. Then he comes in with that vocals that's similar to like a Randy Blythe of a Lamb of God, that kind of growl. I thought the drums were super tight. They had a really solid solo. It kind of had every aspect except for the vocals of just the straight singing.
Yeah.
So I can agree with that.
Yeah. And then you go into Colossus,
Yep.
which
His vocal range is stupid.
vocal range is crazy.
Oh yeah.
Awesome song. There's a kick-ass build-up for the intro.
Yeah.
That one, it sounds like a single to me, but I'm surprised to hear
was
that
their
it was a
third.
third single.
Yeah.
That one sounds like first single. Here's who we are. Here's a new album.
I'm telling you, I guarantee tempo has a big thing to do with that. Because
Yeah.
Colossus, dun dun dun
Yeah.
dun,
Yeah.
dun 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 dun.
You actually might be surprised. I really did not like this song.
You didn't
at
like
all.
the song, okay.
Colossus?
Yeah, I didn't really like the kind of synth bass that sounded really like farty in the very
Okay.
beginning. That kind of like that kind of sound. It was really not for me with the wailing sirens.
Yep.
Again, the kind of slowdown from the kind of heavy and fast paced opener.
Yeah.
It kind of slowed it down for me. It kind of sounded like it wanted to be a bit eerier, but it didn't really accomplish that for me, and it didn't sound very focused as a lot of the other songs did.
okay.
But I understand why it's their the most streamed song off of this album.
Yeah.
I think it has like 2 million plays, which is pretty good for a metal album.
Yeah.
That came out in August.
Yeah,
Yeah.
seriously.
So
Yeah, it's
good
doing
for
well.
them, I guess. But
And we're what, maybe 20 of them?
maybe, yeah.
But for Colossus, the guitar riff reminds me of Man in the Box by Alice in Chains.
Yes, that kind of.
It has it,
Yeah.
it had the same kind of rhythmic feel to me.
Oh,
So I picked that out. It seems to be a common theme for me about this band because not knowing them, I'm seeing a lot of influences.
Yes, I see that too.
Yeah,
Okay,
which is
so-
cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And then this song, Colossus, also reminded me of the sing sounded like Ozzy to me. The song style reminded me of Slipknot. Like when he growls the word Colossus. What's that song by Slipknot?
Psychosocial.
Yes. Yeah, that's kind of what it
Yeah,
reminded
I
me
got
of,
you.
like the same kind of style.
Yeah, like right on the chorus,
Yeah.
screaming the title of the track.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, I can
I can see
imagine a big arena,
Yeah.
screaming along with that whenever that's
Yep.
going to happen.
Okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
And now we're going to come in with a secret door.
Yes.
Who the
Oh yes.
Is he?
uncredited
Is he?
whistler is Corey Taylor.
I did not know
Yes.
that.
Love it.
So
That's
gotta
so
love
good.
Sirius. You get so many cool facts just listening because they just can do so much more.
Yeah.
And yeah, Corey Taylor is the uncredited whistler, as they put on there the lost art of whistling.
Yes.
But he is the uncredited whistler on that song "Secret Door," which I think is just such a cool opening.
I love
They
the
have
whistle.
kind of like that airy, eerie kind of background, and then you just hear that
Yeah.
coming in. Yeah.
For me, at least the very beginning, when I was kind of listening to
Yeah.
the track list all the way through, it kind of confused me at first because it almost had like a bit of a country feel to me with the
Yes.
whistle, that kind of very open airiness
Absolutely.
to it.
For sure.
So after Colossus, which I wasn't a huge fan of, it kind of threw me off. Like, oh, what is this album kind of going for in terms of a vibe?
Yeah.
But then the entire track kind of comes in and it starts to make a bit more sense to me when all the instrumentation comes in. The energy on the chorus is really strong.
Mm-hmm.
And, the whistle really gets stuck in your head after,
does.
after a lot of listens.
I love the whistle.
It's just
Holy shit! A big
ladybug.
ladybug just flew onto my laptop.
That's good luck.
God, it is
You
good
gotta,
luck.
you gotta
Eat
kiss it.
Oh, I thought you had to eat it.
No, eat it. No, I'll leave it there.
Don't eat.
But I loved later on they put the whistle over the
Yes.
groove of the song, and I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh shit,
Yeah.
that's cool. Yeah,
And it's just such a tight dun 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 dun, dun like just
Yeah.
the guitar and the drums. It's
Oh, yeah.
such a tight song.
Yeah, and the percussion on this album is pretty solid too.
Oh,
yeah,
it's pretty
it's
drummer
really
is
good.
great.
I
Yep.
enjoyed it.
Now, so they're you mentioned theatrical. They have like makeup and everything.
Yeah.
Does the whole band do that, or just a singer?
You know,
like-
I don't really know. I've never seen them live. As we've talked about before, I've never been a music video person.
Yeah.
So I haven't really watched them. I've just seen kind of their album art and stuff. But it looks like the whole band usually puts on some sort of a, costume.
Yeah.
I don't think it's anything as super crazy as a Slipknot.
Yeah.
But like white face paint, mascara,
Yeah.
eyeliner kind of stuff.
Because I know the album cover is the singer. That's
Yeah.
his mouth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
By the way, can I throw this out here?
Sure.
If I can throw something out,
Yeah.
I think the album art is trash. To be honest with you, it's I don't know, it's just a guy kind of dressed as a clown with like a kind of face on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did think when I saw it, I was like, yeah, I don't know. It didn't kind of match the power of the album.
Exactly. Yeah.
I get you with that.
Yeah, but that doesn't really affect the music at all. So
No.
whatever.
No.
But here
Yeah.
at the Hops and Bops podcast, we look at everything.
Exactly.
Have to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta take a
Have to.
closer look.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then you come in with God of Sick Dreams,
Yeah.
which I actually wrote down as my sleeper and then crossed it out and then picked a different song. But it really is. That's just a great song.
Yeah.
Great chorus.
Yep.
Very, very catchy.
Yeah. It's very bouncy.
Has an awesome intro. Catchy chorus. Goes right back into that double time, then the halftime. They change like the drums up a lot to really give a different feel.
Yes.
Which I love. Like you said, percussion on this is just spot on.
Oh yeah.
So good.
Well, a lot of the instrumentation is like that too.
Yeah.
There are some tracks where it falters for me, but I think a lot of the guitar and bass kind of
Yeah.
way they implement themselves into
Yep.
a lot of the tracks is very
Yep.
cool.
Guitar solos, and then their breakdowns too. Their
Yeah.
breakdowns are really good.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed them.
Scream Until You Wake. Wasn't a
Really?
fan. That was the one song on the whole album where I kind of was like, there was really nothing special about it.
Yeah.
It was just your standard,
A little filler, maybe.
yeah, your standard metal song. Like it just didn't have like that killer riff. It didn't really have that catchy chorus. It didn't have that sick solo. Like it was just there. And it wasn't a bad song. I wouldn't say I hated it. It was just like forgettable.
I defer. I quite like the track.
Okay.
And like how Joe mentioned a lot before with influences, where you see a lot of them. I heard a lot of. It was hard for me to put my finger on it first because there's a lot of mix of who it is. I think
Yeah.
it's a kind of mix of Dragon Force and like Black Veil Brides almost.
Okay.
So I heard a lot of that on there. I really enjoyed the heavy verses. The chorus had a really nice melody. I really enjoyed how he the performance he gave on the chorus, the kind of really high note that he hits at the very end of it. The harmonies are really tight, and I think the solos were technical and fast. So
Nice. Okay.
yeah, I really enjoyed that track.
There you go.
Awesome.
Cool.
What do you think of that song, Joe?
So this is where in the album I'm like, okay, I'm listening to a metal album.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of hard for me to like differentiate between a lot of the songs at this point in the album.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
But yeah, I mean, they're all good. They're all
Yeah.
good. Like, you know, A Secret Door is my favorite song off the album. I'll say that right now.
Same with me. I picked that as my number one.
Yeah. So, you know, after that, until we get to another song, which I don't want to reveal just yet, it's kind of just, I don't want to say status quo, but it's,
Yeah.
I'm listening to a metal album.
Exactly.
you know?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's very
Yeah.
You know what you're gonna get from
Right,
it.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's actually why I didn't mark it as my favorite or my sleeper or anything, but I really like Child because it gave a different vibe.
Yes, correct.
It kind of changed from just straight metal to you kind of had that, as you said, theatrical, that circus feel. They
Right.
talk about the circus. You know, they really just do a great job with that accenting on the and the drums with that hi-hat. So you get that doom-ch, and it just gives you an entire, something as simple as that accent gives you that bouncy like you're at a show.
Right.
You know, and show meaning like a circus or a theater rather than, and even that pirate vibe.
Exactly.
You know, you
That's what I
get
was gonna
that
say.
same vibe there. You just, you know, it's no longer just in metal. Like
Yep.
you're just going at it.
Yeah.
Right.
So it was a cool turning point in the album.
Yeah, I thought this had even more kind of a pirate dirge feel, almost like a very marching feel that you get on the verses. But yeah, it wasn't necessarily my favorite track. It kind of leaned a bit too much into that.
Yep.
But I kind of like the payoff that comes on the chorus too. The
Yeah.
choruses on this album are very solid in terms
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
what they give out, so I really enjoyed that. But
Agreed.
in total, that wasn't my favorite track on the album.
Yeah.
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 You know, which brings you into the one song that you never thought you would hear on this album.
Yeah.
Gun.
Wow.
Gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know me, I'm a
Yeah.
fan of ballads.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of ballads.
Yeah.
And I like artists kind of taking that risk
And that
and
was
being a bit
for
bolder.
this album,
Yeah,
that's
because-
a major
Yeah.
risk.
But
You're talking about ratios. This is,
yeah.
you know, how many songs? 10?
10
So we're
songs.
talking 9-1. Like,
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
dark horse on
Yes.
the track.
Yeah.
But the way they kind of went about it was not really for me.
I can see that,
It's
though.
it's a bit too melodramatic for me. I appreciate the kind of messaging on the lyrics,
Yep.
but it was just a big flow change up on the album.
Huge.
I really like a lot of flow to be very similar.
Yep.
Granted, you don't have to. I enjoy risks being taken, but I just don't think it kind of panned out the way they wanted it to
Yeah.
on this.
I loved the song.
Really?
I loved Gun. It was a cool change of pace on the album. It was a risk, but I think there's a lot of reward on it. I think they did a great job with it. And it's not out of place for me when I'm listening to it. It's a ballad. There's no metal at all, but it's like a statement song for me, and I just really appreciate it. I'm trying to understand the meaning. Like I'm reading the lyrics, and is it sometimes I get like someone committing suicide feel.
Yeah, so-
others I get like a war feel.
Yeah, so
you know?
if you read them more for face value, you get more of like the sending off young kids to war. I don't know if the message is more about, you know, the idea like you can be 18 and be drafted, but you can't, you know, drink alcohol. You know what I mean? Like that mindset of like you're sending kids
Very
off too
probably
young. And so that's kind of vocally just reading them and not digging super, super deep. That's kind of what I got out of it. And the lyrics are they've got some power behind them, but they're very repetitive.
Yeah.
They're not super crazy poetry. You know, they are kind of face value. You know, you're reading what it's about. I thought it was a solid ballad. I thought it was a good risk. I thought it was a big risk.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I thought that, you know, for a band like them and a guy like him, my one major downside to this song is that he has such an unbelievable range and vocal talent. And he did not sing this song super well.
Literally
Yeah.
just gonna say
He
that.
sang it okay.
True.
Exactly.
I can hear
It was
that.
just like he should have been able to, again, like a Corey Taylor, he should have been able to belt out that song
Yes.
and just absolutely murder the vocals. And it was almost like he sang them,
Kind of like very reserved.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't work
Yeah.
the way I think they wanted it to work.
I think they want it to be a bit softer,
Yeah.
especially on the
might be
the change.
intentional.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But the way they went about it.
I think if he just let it go,
Exactly.
if he just belted and he hit some high notes and some power behind it, and
yeah.
almost like a David Draymond in The Sound of Silence. Like if he, like at one
Yeah.
point, he's belting it out and you can hear that disturbed feel on a ballad. Like if he had done something similar to that with this song,
Yeah.
I think this song would have been possibly my favorite on the entire album.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But something about his vocals, he held back and he just didn't. In
Yeah.
some spots, it almost sounds like it's like almost out of key. Like it just
Yeah.
doesn't even, you know. And
Yeah.
it's not. I get it. You know, they've got producers and all these vocal coaches, and so it's definitely not
Yeah.
like he sang it wrong.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it gives off kind of a different weird vibe that I
know,
think they
yeah.
just this close,
Yep.
they missed the
Yeah.
point on it,
Yeah.
which was
I
my
can hear
only
that.
I know
downside.
exactly
Yeah.
what you mean. Yeah, he should have played more to his strengths on it.
Yeah.
And it, would have had a better performance.
Throw
but,
a little rasp in there
Yeah.
and hit a couple of really high notes and sing some
Yeah.
lower notes and
Yeah, and have some harmonies on it too.
yeah,
but-
exactly.
Yeah.
I think, and again, the lyrics were okay. They had a powerful meaning behind them. I think they were kind of straightforward lyrics with, a big meaning. But it was just like, again, I still like the song. I personally do. I thought it was a great risk. I thought they did a good job with it. It was just that one part. He's so vocally talented,
I know.
and I think he missed his opportunity to be
Yeah.
like,
The
hey,
kind
look
of-
at this.
Yeah, exactly.
It
yeah.
just yeah. That was my only disappointment.
But yeah, that kind of transitions into the next track. What's the name of it? I'm
When
stupid.
all but force has failed.
Yes. I think by itself, that track is really solid and very, very energetic. But in terms of kind of flow on the album for me, it's a
can see
very
that.
big switch up. Because I think that track is like their fastest in terms of tempo-wise on the whole thing.
Probably, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least
dun,
how it feels.
Dun, 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 dun,
Exactly, yeah.
dun.
So, yeah, so
it's a fast song.
going from Gun to that, it's
you
very
literally
jarring.
went from bottom to top.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, that song just fucking kicked ass.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that song.
I agree. I thought the last two songs were a great way to end an album.
Yeah.
And I was actually impressed at the back half of this album.
Okay.
Yeah. Even though my favorite song was, I think, what do we say, track 3? A Secret Door.
Yeah, Secret Door.
I almost like, as a collective, the back half of the album because it shows how dynamic of a band they are and how, all the different elements that they have to offer are in that back half. And I think, Mike, like you said earlier, the first half is just like straight up metal.
Yeah.
Whereas, the second half you have the ballad and Gun, you have the fast track, fast metal track when all but force has failed. You have that carnival sounding song Child. So I like that. I like when bands kind of show off what they have to offer.
Yeah, I think that might be, as Tom kind of alluded to a little bit, though, I think overall, I mean, like Wormhole was a good ending.
Yeah.
It kind of had that ending feel to it. It was a solid song. It fit the album.
Yep.
It wasn't a standout. There was nothing super special about it, but it was a
Agreed.
good song.
Yeah, that's basically what I said too.
I think I liked song 1 and I liked Wormhole to end. And I think everything in between there probably could have been arranged maybe a little bit better to have a little bit better of a flow.
Yeah.
I understand why Gun was near the end, but I also think maybe it could have worked a little better towards the beginning.
see that,
Maybe
yeah.
at the beginning you kind of hit that ballad and oh wait, what was that? And then there's a little more flow through the end, having it more metal on the way out. I don't know. I think there's a lot of ways. I think that might be the biggest downfall of the entire album is that it does, it flows well, but there is some bouncing around that could be adjusted.
Yeah.
But overall, I really did enjoy this album.
Yeah.
Yeah, as did I. Tracks?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, that's right.
So I'll start with the number 1. Obviously, I said Secret Door. A little bit of bias. It's the first song I heard off the album. It was either that or Colossus, but still, it was the first one that really stuck with me and made me listen to the album. And the first time I heard it was also when I found out that was Corey Taylor, which is pretty cool. I'm a huge Corey Taylor fan.
Yep.
Slipknot, Stone Sour, all of it. So good.
It is. It's
Yeah.
a
It
good
really
track.
is.
It is.
Ditto, Mike. I'm not going to get much more into it, but Secret Door, for all those said reasons, is
Yeah.
my favorite song.
Fair enough. I actually went with Scream Until You Wake.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that track. The influences of the kind of metal bands that I kind of grew up with were very prominent.
Man, this beer is good.
Yeah.
It is a good beer.
I know.
The harmonies are really tight. I like the scream vocals. That really high note that he hits is very impressive. technical and fast solos. I enjoyed the track. Least favorite, sorry. I went with Gun.
Understandable.
Bit of a tempo change up. I understand why you want that in there. You know, if you don't really have it in there, then it's all kind of going to be very bland and kind of mushed together, and especially on this kind of an album.
Yeah.
So I appreciate what they were going for, but I just don't think the kind of performance really went the way they wanted it to. So.
My bottom track was Silence in the Age of Apes. Good, like I said, it's a good album intro, but it didn't have any singing in it, which he clearly showed the rest of the album, and I thought the album opener should have that in it. And I just wasn't too impressed with the song. It kind of felt forced to me. It kind of felt like they tried too hard. A lot of the other songs were way more impressive. So that one's my bottom track.
Throw it out there. It is based off, inspired by a book called Sapiens: A Brief History of Humankind.
What is
the Silence of the Age of Apes.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So yeah,
All right.
just based off a book.
Interesting. Well, I don't read, so maybe that's why.
Don't read or can't read.
Debatable.
Yeah,
we'll have to ask my.
Scream Until You Wake was my last. And again, it wasn't like it was a bad song, but I just really loved this album. I loved so many of the songs, and that to me was the one song that didn't stand out. It was the one forgettable song to me. Even a song like Justice, track 7, wasn't super standout, but it had a cool staccato guitar and a really good solo.
Yeah.
And like that made it stick out a little bit more to me. Scream Until You Wake was just like that one song that if it was on the album or not on the album, I wouldn't have known the difference.
Is this the first time my favorite was someone else's least favorite?
It might
I think it
be.
is. That's pretty funny.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah, that's just how we interpret music. I think that's
And
pretty
then
cool.
Sleeper.
yeah, I'll start with Sleeper. My Sleeper Dark Horse. We should probably.
Your
choose a name
Nail
of
that
it.
down.
Your sleeper horse.
Yeah, my sleeper horse
Sleepy Dark Horse.
was Gun. For all the reasons I mentioned before, I thought it was a welcomed risk on the album, and I thought it had a major payoff. But I do see what you guys are saying about the singing. But I thought it was a cool piece of the album that kind of made it what it was.
Yeah. My sleeper? I literally just wrote Horsey as the I went with Secret Door
Okay.
for all of the reasons that you all said before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get too much into it, but the whistle was cool. I like the kind of vibe switch up that they kind of went for, and it made more sense in context with the rest of the album.
My sleeper was When All But Forces Failed. And the reason being is I'm a huge Pantera fan, like massive Pantera fan. And I got a huge Pantera vibe from that. And it was just such a heavy song. And it was, I think, more so too because it was the song after Gun. So you had Gun, and then it was like, holy shit, this might, as you said, the fastest but tightest song on the album.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so together, and it's the second to last song. Like, that could have been the opener, and I would have been like, that's a great opener.
Right.
You know, that could have been the second or third or fourth song, and that would have been a great, but they saved it for ninth, following Gun, and it just was unbelievable. Such a good song.
Yeah. What I love the most is a lot of us chose the same songs, but for different reasons.
Yes.
And so I think that's cool. That's like why we're doing this.
Hell
you know?
yeah, music is awesome.
Yep.
But I'm just glad we got a solid metal album for our first one. And a new album.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's
our
double.
newest.
It's our newest album, and it's our first metal album.
Yeah.
Yes. So,
Thank
ratings?
you, Mike, for bringing
Yes,
it.
thank you, Michael.
4. Gave it a 4.
Explain.
Solid 4. Oof. I thought it was banger from top to bottom. Like, even my last song wasn't last because it was bad. It was last because it was forgettable.
Yeah.
But not because it was bad. I really couldn't tell you one song on the album that I wouldn't want to listen to or dislike. Overall just good. Like I said, if Gun had the vocals that it should have, and if a song like Scream Until You Wake was a little bit, had its own little twist on it, I mean, this could have easily been close to my first 5. But it had a few, Wormhole was good, but again, wasn't super standout.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my taking. There were a couple of songs that it just a little bit better, a little more powerful.
Yep.
This would have been a 5 out of 5 all day. I love these guys. But with those minor adjustments right now, I'm going 4.
Okay.
I also gave it a 4 for a lot of the same reasons. I didn't really know what I was getting into when I popped this album on. I didn't know there was going to be a lot of singing on it, and I liked that. I'm not a big metal, like screaming metal guy. It's not really my taste. So this had enough of balance for me. But yeah, I just wow, what a band! Like their musicianship was tight. Great vocals, great guitar solos, breakdowns. 4 out of 5 for Joe.
Nice. I'm going to go with a 3 out of 5 for me.
Okay.
I think, personally, I went into this album a little bit confused, not really knowing who they are, obviously. But I was open to the idea, and I was surprised at actually how it came out. It came out better than I kind of expected it was going to be.
That's good.
It's not going to be my favorite metal album of the year or anything, but I really enjoyed the vocals. He has, again, incredible range, and for someone that can scream like he can, I thought that was great. The intricate rhythm sections were really nice. The guitar performances were pretty on key. It can be a little generic at times, and it tries to step outside of its own kind of boundaries. But, for what you get out of it, it was a positive experience for me. I think it falters a little bit in the second leg of the album.
Okay.
But yeah, no.
that.
But as an overall experience, it was enjoyable. I liked it a lot more than I thought it was going to. So,
Good.
3 out of 5.
Cool. Nice. Let's rate the old 𝙃𝙪𝙧 here, which we're all still sipping on here. It was a good beer for the episode.
That's all right. I'm personally going to give it a 3.5. I'm not the biggest fan of double IPAs unless they're like really smooth and really high quality. You get a lot of that alcohol-y taste, but for this one, I think the way they blend a lot of the hops and they try to cover up that kind of, hit, that initial hit. I feel like they do a really good job, but not a lot of double IPAs really do it for me. But for what you get out of this, it's pretty solid. So 3.5.
All right.
I enjoyed it.
I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I think it's a solid double IPA. It's
Yeah.
one of my favorites. It's got that straight up New England kind of IPA citrus taste to it, and it's just got a little bit of extra hop, a little extra bite, that little bit more booze. You're drinking a double IPA. It's not like it's hiding anything. But it is a smooth beer. You're not choking it down. You're not struggling to finish it. Even though it's 8.5%, it still goes down smooth. It's got that nice citrus flavor. It's got a good smell to it, the citrus smell. I just think it's a really good double IPA.
Yeah,
I like it.
Definitely. So I almost gave this a 3.5.
Okay.
Just because I'm more into the fruitier New England style IPA.
me too.
This is definitely more hoppier, and with the amber color, I'm more used to that like lighter color. But I try and look at things for the whole package, and I think the name change, the graphics on the can with the peace sign I talked about earlier, the little quote on the can, "We can rebuild him." I love that stuff. I love that little like hidden things that you have to like look for. So for that reason, I'm giving it a 4 because it really is a solid beer.
Yeah.
It's a good representation of Connecticut in a can.
It's got history.
Yeah, a lot of history. So a 4 out of 5 hops for me.
Nice.
Very nice.
Yeah. So some shout outs here.
Shout them out.
New England Brewing Company. Check them out on Instagram. They're New England Brewing. And then check out their website as well. They have a ton of beers. Of beers. My personal favorite of theirs is Fuzzy Baby Ducks, which is like super, super hard to come by. Like when the cans are released, it's sold out like within hours.
Oh, cool.
So if you can get your hands on it when it comes out, it's like worth it. But that's more of the juicy IPA that I'm into, and that's my favorite from them. But check out their whole like offering because they have a ton. So New England Brewing Company, out of Woodbridge, by the way, Woodbridge, Connecticut.
Yeah, so Avatar, check them out. They've been out for a while. They got 8 albums. Hunter Gatherer being their newest release as of 2020. Avatar Country being the last one in 2018. This album alone has made me want to go back and start from the beginning and listen to them like beginning to end and get a feel for that transition throughout.
I love when you find an album like that.
Yeah, Facebook, Instagram, just search for Avatar.
Well,
not
really?
the movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say the
No,
search engine.
I looked on Instagram. I mean, there's Avatar Band Official, Avatar Band,
They're Avatar Metal.
Avatar Metal.
That's their Instagram
Okay.
because they have the blue check.
Got you. See, I see Joe's our. Oh, look at you, Avatar Metal. Because
Yeah.
Joe's our social media guy.
Yeah.
I don't do the social media as much. I don't post much.
Yeah.
But
That's
Avatar
my world.
Metal, good. Yeah, follow them. I just did.
Well, there you go.
As for next episode, though, I believe it's my album and Mike's beer.
Yes, episode 13.
Yeah.
Episode 12.
12.
12.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm a producer.
Next episode, we have another one of my favorite albums of all time. It's Blood Sugar Sex Magic by Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
And the beer we've gone with is Trogs. I say it right?
Yes,
Trogs.
Trogs.
Trogs. Mad Elf. It is a once-a-year beer. It's only put out once a year from a brewery down in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
And it actually does have chocolate in it. I wonder if it's Hershey's.
Ooh,
Be
interesting.
interesting.
More on
Have
that
to do
next
some
episode.
research.
I'll call him up.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening.
Yeah, we hope you've had a great time, because we're enjoying doing this. So make sure to follow us, subscribe to us everywhere, Facebook, Instagram. We're streaming live on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube. Keep in touch with us, DM us, contact us if you want us to do a certain beer, a certain album. For the next episode, give Blood Sugar Sex Magic by the Chili Peppers a listen. Pick up some Mad Elf by Trogs so that you can join in on the listening experience with us. So for Mike and Tom, I'm Joe, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.